Alright, here's our next update on the top bar beehive, and now we're to the point where we're going to weather treat our top bar beehive, and we're going to do that by taking some boiled linseed oil and about a fourth of one of these bars of beeswax. That's what that says on there. It's a bar of beeswax, and I'm going to put it in this convenient number 10 can. I'll tell you what, that's one of the things about being a prepper. You buy things number 10 cans, and the empty cans are always a very handy commodity. So, I'll put just about a one-digit fingerful in the bottom of this number 10 can, and melt into it a fourth of one of these bars. And what I'm going to do with the rest of these bars is, of course, we're going to turn over one of these honey bar, brood bar or honey bar, and I will melt a bead of beeswax all the way down here. And I was going to staple cotton string to that, and I didn't have any cotton string. I had something else, and I didn't want to use the something else. But you don't have to use the cotton string. You don't have to staple cotton string onto it. You can just run a bead, and that's what I'm going to do. So one thing, a word of caution here is boiled linseed oil and wax are flammable. So whatever you use to heat that, make it over a low heat, a low slow heat, so the thing doesn't catch on fire. That is your safety briefing. Alright, well, I've already put the boiled linseed oil into the can. So now what I'm going to do here is trim about this much of the beeswax. Drop that in the can. We'll use the rest of that wax later. Now, one of the things I know is that because I really don't want to start a fire out here, I don't want to heat this inside. I know one place that's a nice place that's just like an oven and it'll give you a nice slow melt is in my car. Well, there's one thing that has come to my attention that I wanted to point out to you as you think about building a top bar beehive is there was one little thing that I overlooked when constructing this one. If you take a close look at the top bar beehives built by McCartney-Taylor, you will catch something that I perhaps didn't catch, and that is, even though on this one I really lucked out, because you'll notice here, this bar will stop, but just barely. There's just enough height. But you'll notice on the top bar beehives that McCartney-Taylor builds, this area stops about right here. In other words, his ends protrude about 1/4 of an inch above his sidewalls, so that it's very obvious that these are going to stop. Now on this one, there's just enough there that it's going to stop. Not so lucky on the other end. I think it would slide right off. But I just wanted to mention that to you when you're making your sides on your top bar beehive. Well, you may have noticed in one of Cat's Cradle's previous videos that she discovered a knife that she was using that had a little problem, and she decided to get rid of that knife. Well, I needed a knife for my beekeeping, and so I keep it in here with my my white suit and my veil, and I'm going to go to my portable solar oven, known as my car, and cut up that little piece of wax in there so it will melt a little bit faster. Alright, I've now cut up that piece of wax. If I'd have thought about it, of course I'd have done it in the first place, but you do what you can do. So I've now cut up that piece of wax even in smaller pieces so it will melt more rapidly in my mobile solar oven. Alright, now another thing that I'm looking at as I'm waiting for the wax to melt in the linseed oil and in the mobile solar oven is I'm going to go ahead and put a bead of wax on my top bars. And so, since the bees really don't care about exact measurements on these things, I'm just going to say, based on what I'm looking at here, maybe about a 3 fingers width. Start about here and go in to about a 3 fingers width on the other side. I'm just using a soldering iron here to come in contact with this wax. The soldering iron seems to do a good job. Just one drop just connects drops, and I think that's going to work just fine. Just as this is the way McCartney Taylor did it, and it worked for him. All right, now let's take a look at our mobile solar oven and see if our wax is melted in our boiled linseed oil, and we'll take a look. And there you have it. There it is, safely melted while we were while I was putting the wax on the top bars. Now it's ready to paint on the top bar beehive. Alright, well, while our linseed oil and our wax was melting together, here's the product of the beads, running the wax on the top bars. And now we're ready to paint that melted, that combination of linseed oil and melted wax together. Now, one thing about that that you might consider is, instead of ruining about a $12 brush here, you might treat that top bar beehive like a fine piece of furniture and put it on that way. So let's get rid of this one, and we'll do it this way. Now, one thing you'll notice along here, I'm not going to be doing the center, because remember, our viewing area, our viewing glass, our plexiglass is going to be going in the middle. So on this side, I'm only going to be going around the edges. And now on the other side, we'll do the full side. And one thing for sure we want to do, since this is a weatherproofing job, is you want to be sure and get the ends of these legs here. Mop that in there nicely. And we'll go ahead and finish with this side pretty quickly. As I said, we're going to do just the perimeter here. And we'll just leave that portion undone. In the middle, it's going to get cut out. Alright, as you can tell by the changing shadows here, It's later in the day, and we've removed the top bars that have wax on them on the underside of each one and put those in the shop because we've checked the weather forecast and we have sunshine, or at least no rain, for the next several days. So this top bar that we painted with the boiled linseed oil and melted wax will have full exposure to the sun, so this unit can cure, and we are one step closer to getting this project completed. In the meantime, while it's curing, I'll be able to get my plexiglass for the viewing window and also cut the hole in the side, maybe after 3 or 4 days, once I get the plexiglass, and we'll return to this project then. Pallet and prepper.